Welcome to this deep dive. Today, we're really venturing into the heart of India's spiritual history. We're exploring the lives, the stories, the enduring wisdom of some pretty significant mythological gurus.
Absolutely. These figures, they weren't just teachers in a simple sense. They were guides, you know, for gods, for kings, warriors.
hmm
They really shaped the foundations of Indian thought.
It's like going back to the source, isn't it? Understand where so many core ideas come from.
Exactly. Think of it as a journey to the headwaters of this incredibly deep spiritual river. These gurus, through what they did, what they taught, they laid down principles that still influence us today. How we see wisdom, duty, life itself.
Totally. So to kind of navigate this huge topic, we'll focus on some key figures
Yeah.
like Brihaspati, the guru of the Devas,
hmm
and then his sort of counterpart, Shukracharya, who taught the Asuras. That's an interesting dynamic right there.
Definitely. A real contrast.
And we'll also look at the royal sage Vashishtha, the amazing journey of Vishwamitra.
A king who became a rishi. Yeah.
Exactly. And Dronacharya, from the Mahabharata, of course, plus the warrior sage Parashurama.
Such powerful figures.
We'll also touch briefly on others like Agastya, Kapila Muni, Shankaracharya. And, well, you can't not mention Lord Krishna as guru to Arjuna in the Gita, right?
Impossible to overlook that one. It's foundational.
So our goal here, our sort of mission for this dive, is to pull out the key insights, the stories, understand their unique abilities, their teachings, and really see what their legacy means for us, today.
Sounds like a great plan. Where do we start? Brihaspati.
Let's do it. Brihaspati, the teacher of the gods.
Right, Brihaspati. Often called Dev-Guru, Guru of the Devas. He holds a really central position in the mythology. He's not just a character. He kind of is wisdom, isn't he?
Uh-huh.
Connected to the planet Jupiter in Vedic astrology, too, which stands for knowledge, benevolence.
So it wasn't just about teaching scriptures then, like classroom stuff.
Oh, much more than that. He was a crucial diplomat for the Devas, a spiritual guide, absolutely, but also a protector of dharma, cosmic order, righteous conduct.
A real multitasker.
Definitely. The Devas looked to him for all sorts of things, deep spiritual questions, but also like really critical strategic decisions in their conflicts.
Okay, and that's where it gets interesting, right? The conflicts with the Asuras, the sources really highlight his role there.
Yes, very much so. A classic example is how he'd counsel Indra, the king of the gods. When the Asuras, who had their own very smart guru, Shukracharya, when they seemed to be getting the upper hand.
Right, things look dicey for the Devas.
Exactly. Brihaspati's wisdom was key.
So how did he advise Indra? Was it all about battle plans and, fighting harder?
Well, that's what's so fascinating. Brihaspati really emphasized sticking to dharma, righteous action, as the ultimate way to win. He understood that real victory, lasting victory, isn't just about force.
Ugh.
It's about aligning yourself with what's right, with cosmic law, especially when you're up against someone who seems stronger. He guided Indra towards that path, believing it would lead to the best outcome in the long run.
That's actually a really deep strategic point, using ethics as an advantage. Okay, so let's flip the coin. Let's talk about Shukracharya, the guru of the Asuras.
Yes, Shukracharya. He provides such a compelling contrast, doesn't he? As the guide for the Asuras, his focus was naturally on their well-being, their success, which often put him directly opposite the Devas and Brihaspati.
And he had that incredible power,
Mm,
the Sanjivani Vidya, bringing the dead back to life.
that's the one. His mastery of Sanjivani Vidya was, unique and incredibly powerful. The ability to resurrect fallen warriors. Imagine that.
Wow. Yeah, that would give the Asuras a massive edge, wouldn't it? Tactically, psychologically?
Absolutely. Knowing death might not be final for your side, that changes everything. Huge impact on morale.
So, beyond this amazing power, what was he like as a figure? Just, the bad guy's teacher.
Not quite so simple. While he obviously represented the Asuras, the texts portray him as a brilliant strategist, and actually quite strict but fair with his own disciples. Not just a caricature of darkness.
I seem to remember one story, something that really shows his, integrity, even when it was difficult.
Ah, yes. You're probably thinking about the incident with Lord Vishnu during his Vimana avatar. When he came to trick King Bali, Shukracharya's disciple,
That's it.
Shukracharya saw through the deception.
Oh,
He recognized Vishnu was trying to trick his disciple, Bali. And even though as Vishnu, a supreme god, Shukracharya warned Bali, and when ignored, actually cursed Vishnu for the trickery.
He cursed Vishnu. Wow, that speaks volumes about his loyalty to his disciple, doesn't it?
It really does. It underlines that guru-shishya, that teacher-student bond. It's built on trust, on moral guidance, even if it means, standing up to the highest authority.
So the guru's job is to be that moral compass no matter what.
Precisely. Even if it's tough, even if it means challenging the powers that be.
Okay, let's shift gears now to another major figure, Guru Vashishtha, the royal sage.
Guru Vashishtha, a hugely respected figure. He was the Kula guru, the lineage guru for the famous Ikshvaku dynasty. That includes Lord Rama himself.
Right, Rama's teacher.
His influence was immense, not just on the royals, but on the whole kingdom.
And his ashram, I gather, it wasn't just a simple hermitage, it was more.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Think of Vashishtha's ashram as a kind of ancient spiritual university. Yes, they taught dharma, meditation, spiritual stuff, but also governance, politics, statecraft, essential skills for the princes and administrators learning there.
A complete education, really. And he's famous for those intense debates, isn't he?
Yes. His clashes, philosophical and spiritual, with Vishwamitra are legendary. We'll get to Vishwamitra next. But these weren't just, academic arguments. They tackled fundamental questions about power, about merit, about reality itself.
So amidst all that, what was, a core teaching of Vashishtha? A central idea?
One of his most powerful teachings, and one that really sticks, is about the mind. Control the mind, and you control the world. It's all about inner discipline, mental strength, being the key to mastering anything external.
That still rings true today, doesn't it? Wow. Okay, so let's talk about Vishwamitra now. His path was pretty unique, I understand.
Vishwamitra's story is really something else. What's amazing is he wasn't born a Brahmin, a priest. He started life as a Kshatriya, a powerful king, a warrior.
A king?
Yes, but through sheer will, incredible dedication, and intense tapasya, these really rigorous spiritual practices, he basically gave up his throne, his kingdom, everything.
Wow.
And eventually achieved the status of a Brahma Rishi, a sage of the highest order. That transformation from king to top sage, it's incredible, shows what focus and spiritual effort can do.
That is seriously inspiring. What kind of things did he achieve on this spiritual journey? Any, famous accomplishments?
Oh, definitely. Vishwamitra is credited with some mind-blowing feats, things that show his immense spiritual power. Maybe the most famous is creating Trishanku Swarga, basically, a whole separate heaven for King Trishanku.
He made a heaven.
The stories say so, a testament to his power. And maybe even more importantly, he's revered as the one who revealed or gifted the Gayatri mantra to humanity, that incredibly sacred, powerful Vedic hymn, still chanted today.
The Gayatri mantra. Right, and he also connects back to other stories we know, like with Rama.
Absolutely. A really important episode is when he takes the young princes, Rama and Lakshmana, under his wing. He trains them not just spiritually, but in warfare too. He gives them the knowledge and skills to defeat the Rakshasi Tataka and other demons. So he played a key role in shaping them into the heroes they became.
Fascinating connections. Okay, let's move into the Mahabharata era now and talk about Guru Dronacharya.
Dronacharya, a central figure, absolutely pivotal in the Mahabharata. He was the martial guru, the weapons master for both sets of cousins, the Pandavas and the Kauravas.
The teacher for both sides of the Great War.
Exactly. His skill, his knowledge of warfare, it was considered unmatched.
And his name is tied to one of the most difficult stories in the epic, isn't it? The story of Eklavya.
Ah, yes. Eklavya. That story is, well, it's deeply complex, ethically. It raises questions that people still debate. Eklavya, this young tribal boy, incredibly talented archer. He wanted so badly to learn from Drona, but Drona refused him formal teaching because of his, social standing, his caste. But Eklavya was so devoted, he made a clay statue of Drona, practiced in front of it, considered Drona his guru anyway, and became an amazing archer just through that focus.
Incredible dedication.
But then comes the really hard part. Drona finds out, sees how good Eklavya is, and asks for his right thumb as Guru Dakshina, the traditional offering to a teacher.
His thumb, the one an archer needs most.
Exactly. It's a really tough lesson. It touches on favoritism, maybe injustice, the complexities of dharma, the duty within that Guru-Shishya tradition. It's not straightforward at all.
No, it certainly makes you think. Jonah did have a favorite student, though, among the princes he did teach.
Oh, yes. While he taught all the Kauravas and Pandavas, Arjuna was special to him. Drona recognized Arjuna's incredible skill, his focus, his dedication. He saw him as his best, his most exceptional student. Their bond is a really important thread in the Mahabharata.
Okay. Now, for someone really unique, Parashurama, a guru, but also an avatar of Vishnu, a warrior sage.
Parashurama, yes. He's fascinating because he embodies this powerful combination, deep spiritual wisdom and fearsome warrior skill. He's the sixth avatar of Vishnu, so he wielded immense power, but he lived like an ascetic, a sage. That blend is key to who he was.
And he taught some major figures himself, didn't he?
He absolutely did.
Yeah.
Parashurama was the guru for some of the mightiest warriors we know from the epics. Think Bhishma. Dronacharya himself learned from him, even Karna.
Wow, he taught Drona, so teacher of teachers in a way.
In a sense, yes.
Yeah.
His influence on the art of warfare in that age was profound.
He sounds intense, fierce, but also committed to Dharma. How did that work?
That's exactly the core of his philosophy. He taught the vital need to balance Shastra, which means weapons, power, force, with Shanti, peace, wisdom, control. His big lesson was that power without wisdom, without that grounding in Dharma, just leads to destruction.
Power needs wisdom.
Essential. A timeless principle, really.
Yeah.
Relevant whenever power is involved, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. Okay, before we wrap up the main figures, let's just briefly mention a few other really influential gurus. We don't want to leave them out entirely.
Good idea. We should definitely acknowledge Rishi Agastya. He's credited with taking Vedic knowledge and practices south into South India. Hugely important for spreading that culture across the subcontinent.
Right, spreading the knowledge. And then Kapila Muni.
Kapila Muni, revered as the founder of Samkhya philosophy. That's one of the oldest, most influential schools of Indian thought. It really delves into the basic principles of reality, how we know things. Fundamental stuff.
And closer perhaps in time, but monumental. Adi Shankaracharya.
Oh, absolutely monumental. Adi Shankaracharya came at a critical time and really revitalized, sort of consolidated Sanatana Dharma. His philosophy, Advaita Vedanta non-dualism, is still a cornerstone of Hindu thought, the idea of a oneness of the soul and the ultimate reality.
Profound impact. And finally, we have to circle back in a way to the ultimate guru in perhaps the most famous teaching setting, Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita.
Indeed. Krishna's role as Arjuna's guide, his charioteer, his teacher, right there on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. It's probably the most studied, most beloved example of that guru-disciple relationship.
The whole Gita is that dialogue, isn't it?
Essentially, yes. A deep spiritual discourse packed with timeless wisdom about duty, dharma, action, karma, devotion, bhakti, the nature of reality. It's all in there.
So, pulling all these threads together, these ancient figures, these epic stories, what do they really offer us now in our, pretty confusing modern world?
That's the key question, isn't it? I think in a world that's just flooded with information, data, constant noise, the wisdom of these gurus feels more relevant than ever. They remind us that real growth isn't just knowing more stuff, it's about seeking genuine wisdom, understanding, ethical grounding.
Like Brihaspati's focus on right action.
Exactly. Or Shukracharya's perhaps surprising commitment to truth even against a god. Or Vashishtha, hammering home the need for inner discipline. These aren't just old stories, they're principles we can still apply.
Yeah, they feel practical somehow.
They really are. Think about Vishwamitra perseverance, striving for something higher. Dronacharya making us grapple with duty and difficult choices. Parashurama, that crucial balance of power and wisdom. Patience, discipline, dharma, detachment. These aren't just abstract concepts. Each guru offers practical insights for navigating life.
So, as people have been listening to us talk about all these incredible gurus, what's maybe a final thought for them to take away?
I think the most profound takeaway is that somewhere in this incredibly rich tapestry of Indian mythology, there's likely a guru whose story, whose teachings resonate specifically with you right now. Whatever your role is, student, warrior in your own life, leader, just a seeker. There's wisdom there, there's a relevant example and inspiration to draw from in these figures.
That's a really powerful thought to end on. As you've listened to this deep dive, maybe reflect on that. Which guru's story, which teaching really struck a chord with you? Definitely something to think about. Thank you so much for joining us on this exploration.
It's been fascinating, truly. Until our next deep dive, may you find wisdom and guidance on your own path.
No.